This map can save life when the next hurricane hit New York. The author, right here, Jim McMahon, is known as McMahon.
I'm a cartographer. I do thousands and thousands upon maps each year.
Jim lives in Red Hook in Brooklyn. Red Hook has been flooded during Hurricane Sandy. Jim decided to help in his own way.
When you're in the disaster, you can either A, ignore, 2, you can help, 3, you can exploit.
When watching one of his friends helping, he knew what he had to do.
And he immediately started cooking for everybody. He was making hundreds and hundreds of chicken, fried chicken, meatballs. And then he said to me, "Jim, you have to use your skill set. What's your skill set?" I said, "Oh, I'm a map maker." And he said, "That's right."
Jim came up with the idea of showing what actually happened the night of the hurricane in Red Hook. So Jim started to interview hundreds of people in his neighborhood and collected data for 2 weeks. Fema heard about his initiative and asked to use his map, which of course Jim said yes to.
He said, "Well, that's what I do. I'm a map maker."
Jim explains to us what are the purposes of his map.
The purpose of the map is A, to set the record straight. This is what happened.
He put some myth down, like the one on the battery tunnel.
Didn't the water go into the battery tunnel? And that's a common misnomer. The water did not make its way into the battery tunnel. It did not go from the Manhattan side to the Brooklyn side and fill it up tunnel to tunnel. That's another myth.
There are other myths about Red Hook and the hurricane, carried on by well-known newspapers.
I've seen maps that have been produced by the New York Times and other outlets that show this neighborhood completely underwater. And that's not true.
Indeed, 3 invincible streets didn't flood, right near the water, in a flooded area.
Everyone else in this neighborhood would understand why those blocks didn't flood, and it was because of elevation. Because the city tells you you live in Zone A, but no one here knows what that really means.
Jim wants the city to add on each street sign the number of feet above sea level, ASL, you are standing on. For instance,
and so you have ASL 6 for 6 feet, ASL 7 for 7, and so on. This way people, when at a time of an emergency, would know, oh, the news is reporting an 8-foot surge. I live on a block that's only 1 feet above sea level. I need to move everything up to higher level, and I need to get out of here.
Jim's map is also here as a historical document.
So people know, let's say if we don't get any more storms like this, because that could happen. It could be another 15 years or 20 years, and we don't get a storm like this again. But that would serve as a document for people to see, look, this is what a storm can do.
As a true fan of his neighborhood and a passionate of his work, Jim just wants people to know the truth and prevent those damages to happen again. Jim believes that every neighborhood should have its own map man, and so do we. It was Maureen from NYIT.